doors open. Luka, triple dub. Trae Young, game winner. Nah, these dudes is balling right to the end. The trade is done. Big news in the NBA.
Cowards, all of them cowards.
But the NBA still on fire.
It's almost Christmas, which means the NBA season usually, for the hardcore fans like me, we've been here since the beginning. But to the casual fan, that's the time where they start watching basketball. So, with that being said, February is the trade deadline. People been asking, so I'm gonna go ahead and break down a few guys that I think, well, what I'll do is I'll break down a bunch of guys that I think have the potential to get traded, and then I'll give you some scenarios for a few guys. So for the Spurs, I think a few guys are in play. I think DeRozan's name has been out there. He's definitely in play. LaMarcus Aldridge, his name has been out there as well, so we know he's probably going to be in play. Rudy Gay's another one. Guy that can play small forward, power forward, can shoot, defend. He could be a really good asset to a contending team. I don't believe he has a big contract, so I think any team would probably be able to use his services. Aldridge, stretch 4, so I could see teams using him, as well as DeRozan. I mean, he's in his prime. Can get you 25 a night. Not a great three-point shooter, deadly from mid-range, pretty good defender. He has size. So I like DeRozan a lot if he's on the right team. I never really thought the Spurs were the team for him. I don't think they fit his play style. Who else is out there? Kevin Love, obviously. Some would say he's no longer in his prime. I think he still is. I just think the Cavs don't use him like that because they went to a very, very young team. So they're protecting that asset, to say the least. He's playing enough for you to see what he can still do, but not enough to where they're dominating or he's the best player on the team. So that's what they're doing, in my opinion. But yeah, he's a stretch 4, can play power forward or center in a small ball lineup. Great rebounder, great passer, deadly shooter. Definitely can help a team. He does have a big contract. I want to say it's something like $90 million left over the next 3 years. So it's going to be tricky for the Cavs to trade him. I'm hearing that they want a first-round pick for him, which makes sense for them. They are rebuilding. Tristan Thompson's another guy I think they probably will try to move. A good rebounder, defender, can guard the pick and roll for a big man. So he can definitely help a contender as well. There's a guy in Washington, David Bertans. He's a knockdown shooter. I think he's going to get a lot of interest from teams. So we'll see what type of traction that picks up. You also have Andre Iguodala, but I think he's going to end up being a buyout casualty. I could be wrong. They may be able to pull a trade with somebody, but we shall see. He obviously hasn't played all year. I don't believe they're going to keep him home all year. They did trade for him. So I think they're going to try to get something for him. You may see him involved in a trade. Could be a multi-team trade where he's sent to a team that doesn't plan on keeping him, and then they're the ones that buy him out. And then he's able to sign with a contender that way. But I do think the Grizzlies are definitely going to try to get something for him. Danilo Gallinari is another player, small forward / power forward. Can shoot the three, can handle the ball a little bit. Not a great defender, but like I said, he can shoot, space the floor, can help a team that needs some shooting. He's in the final year of his contract, so an expiring contract is always very attractive. So he's a player that you probably will see moved. Chris Paul's another one, a little more tricky because of his contract. Similar to Kevin Love, they have a lot of money left with at least 3 years left on their deal. So it's going to be hard to move Chris Paul. Obviously, he can definitely go to a contender and help right away. If you're missing, if you need point guard help, if you're expecting him to come in and be like an option 1 or 2, he can still score. I don't think he needs to with the Thunder like that. So, because they are trying to showcase their young guys and see what type of talent they have. So, but I definitely think he could help a contender. Trades with him, like I said, will be tricky because of the money. You have Bogdanovich from Sacramento, knockdown shooter, pretty good scorer. He'll probably gain a lot of interest if they decide to move him. I know they've been dealing with some injuries to De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley. I believe Bagley came back last night, so was on a minutes restriction, obviously. And Fox, I think he's due back by the end of the month. So it'll be interesting to see if they decide to just keep them all together. Because technically they would have like a month and some change to see how the team is playing together before they decide to move him. But yeah, he's definitely a piece that teams will be interested in. Marcus Morris in New York, another player that could gain some traction as far as trade. He can definitely help a contender. Can play the 3 or the 4. Very good defender, good rebounder. He's a pretty good all-around player. He's a decent shooter, so he can definitely help a team. I think he's on a 1-year deal, so it's not a long commitment. So he's a very attractive piece to a lot of teams. Let's start with Kevin Love, because I think he's the piece that you're hearing a lot of teams interested in, from the Celtics. They're the main one I hear. I do not see this trade going down. Let me just say that. The money is the main reason. And the Celtics would have to give up some pieces that Cleveland probably doesn't want, like Gordon Hayward, to get him. They would have to give up a first-round pick. I'm not sure they want to do that. But you pair him with a Kemba Walker and a Jason Tatum. To me, that puts them in the mix against Milwaukee and Philadelphia. I don't know if it'll work. I think the Cavs, for the Celtics, I think it's going to be more in the first-round pick. I think they're going to want Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. I don't think the Celtics are willing to part with those guys. They weren't willing to part with them for Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, so I doubt they're going to part with them for Kevin Love. So I don't see that deal happening. There's a few teams, I guess, you could see a deal being done. I think Kevin Love fits perfectly in the Spurs system. So you could see something like that. Houston has been a team that has coveted him for a while. I don't know what pieces they would have to move. Obviously, the only one that makes any sense is Clint Capella. If it was me, I would do it in a heartbeat, because there aren't a lot of big teams in the West. Granted, the Lakers have a lot of size, but no one can match up with their front line like that. So, yes, that would hurt losing Capella, but Kevin Love is a stretch 4, can play the 5. In that Houston offense, I think he would fit perfectly, but I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on a deal like that. That's the only one, like I said, I can see that makes sense, is to trade Love for Capella. DeMar DeRozan, here's a trade that I've been thinking about. I think it works for both teams, kind of. And that would be Aldridge to Aldridge to Portland for CJ McCollum. Now, hear me out on this one. Aldridge slides into the 2-guard spot. He gives you size. I think that small backcourt has ran its course in Portland. I don't think they went as far as they can go. So I think they need to do something. Aldridge. DeRozan. So DeRozan was sliding instantly to the 2-guard spot in Portland. So you have Lillard, DeRozan, Carmelo. Now you have size at the 2 and the 3. So you don't have a very small backcourt with CJ and Dame. DeRozan instantly gives you size. He also gives you scoring, so you don't lose the points that McCollum was getting you. I think it's a win-win for both teams, because then you take CJ, you send him to San Antonio. He fits in over there as far as he can shoot, he can handle, he can pass, he can do all those things. He's a smaller guard. I just don't know if his play style, the way he likes to play, will fit in San Antonio. That's the only hitch to it for me, but I like to trade for both teams. Yeah, some of these other guys are tough. I mean, Chris Paul, obviously an ideal fit would probably be the Lakers, because then you'd have a starting point guard. So LeBron doesn't have to handle the ball as much. I think the way they're playing, I think it's a problem for teams, because I think Bradley playing point guard on defense, not really the point guard on offense. So I think that works. The money is why the Lakers won't be able to do it. He's another one that there may be a situation where he gets bought out. That's the only way you would see Chris Paul, I think, involved in some type of movement, because I don't think he's going to be going anywhere with that contract, unless some team comes out of nowhere. But that's my opinion on that. So I think Love could get moved. It would have to be a team like a Portland, where they have a few assets that they could move to Cleveland. I don't know if Cleveland wants CJ back, because they got a lot of guards over there already. It's gonna be interesting. Like, I don't know what team. Philadelphia is an interesting team. They're not playing up to the standard that people expected. Embiid and Simmons do have big contracts, as well as Al Horford. Horford would be an interesting move to Cleveland. Here's why. Because if you could get Kevin Love to Philadelphia, now you've got Embiid. You could have Love as that stretch 4 that will open up the lane for Simmons, and you still have Tobias Harris. That move would be very interesting if they could pull that off. I don't know if they're interested in trading Horford, because I think they got him for the sole reason of being the veteran on the team, making sure guys, in the right spots, offensively, mainly defensively though. So I don't know if they want to move Horford, but that's a deal that would shake that Eastern Conference up. I think that would make them the favorites, in my opinion, if they were able to get Love and keep Embiid, Simmons, and Tobias Harris. So those are just a few of the trades that I've been thinking about. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all have any other ideas and the other guys that I might have missed on the block? If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in. See y'all in the next video. We out.